20, that's fine. Great. So before we go into the exercise, a couple of people asked during the break, so I'll just say it for everybody so that we don't need to repeat it many times. So I went very briefly over what Turn to Love was, so just to repeat, because some of you asked, okay, what is Turn to Love, how can we become part of it, etc. So Turn to Love is a group of like all volunteers. So it's all people that have a job or a student occupation or whatever, something on the side, and doing this in their spare time. So we've got people from a very wide range of backgrounds, ages, etc. As I said, right, like people working in schools, teachers, students, university students, women organizations, NGOs, finance world, PR world quite a bit, advertising agencies, video production agencies. So all people coming together because they want to do something on this topic and because they want to use their skills or their passion to make a difference on this topic. So to the ones of you who asked, to the ones of you who asked how you could become part, please send us an email on info@turntolove.org, and also please send us a WhatsApp on the number that is there, so we can easily add you to the WhatsApp group. The key thing we do then is like we are planning some further campaigns. The first thing we do, and that I would want to ask all of you, even the ones that don't have a lot of time, please just send us your number and we'll put you on one group in which we never post, but which is just the group to be ready if an attack happens. God forbid, and let's hope nothing happens. But if an attack happens, we'll just send stuff out, and then hopefully many of you can join, because every person that day makes a huge difference. And then the second group is a more active group where we do meetings every 2-3 weeks to think about what are the next campaigns we can do. So we've got some campaigns online now around these imams, for example, how to push some of that messaging out. We've got some other messages which are more like cross-faith, with like atheists, Buddhists, Christians, etc., doing more of like the United We Stand thing, which we copied a bit from the Canada video you saw. We're thinking about some other video campaigns. We've got one video agency that made a video for us for free, which normally would have cost £10,000 just to make the production cost of it. Actually, I should show that video if I have it on here, which is meant to go live for the Trump visit. So it's a video which shows messages of hate from all sides, both the racist sides and ISIS, etc., and then how people reacted to that. It would be great to get your thoughts on that video as it's being refined. Anyway, so quite a lot of things being planned. It would be great to get you guys involved on the WhatsApp group, in the meetings, etc., and then at any events we organize, of course, feel very free to join too. The last thing before we go into the exercise is also we are very happy to do more of these training sessions for groups that you think could benefit from this, whether that's your friends, your local sports club, your local youth organization, or your local mosque, whatever. Very happy to come if you like. If there's 10, 20, 30 people you think that are passionate about this kind of work, even if it's other campaigns they're passionate about, but if they want to know how to get their campaigns more amplified and more widely spread, feel free to reach out, and we're very happy to come and do some sessions.
I think something very valuable that's come from this experience and the other people who've come onto this program is that the skills that you gain from this are very transferable. In the business sector, in the charitable sector, it's just about understanding your message and seeing how you can take it out and get it out into other communities. And our impact has been very, very powerful. I mean, the return on investment has been huge, but it's only been successful because we've been able to engage people on a grassroots level to get involved. And that's something, I think that's the USP of this product. So we bring in the corporate style, professionalism, marketing techniques, high levels of impact, and bringing people from the grassroots to get their voice out. And that's something I found hugely valuable. And it's for me something that I found very beneficial as a director of the Face Forum, to get the expertise of people like Haider and his wealth of team of volunteers. And that's something that's really been driven us in its effectiveness. And hopefully in this exercise we can think about how we can develop some practical steps in terms of ideas.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, some people ask like how did Turn to Love start. So to Mustafa's point, like people really, like basically I used to work for a strategy consulting firm where we did lots of work for like companies, oil companies, banks, etc., on how to do their strategy. But we also had a pro bono site where we did 3 projects for social enterprises, charities, etc., to use those strategic skills for organizations that couldn't pay like the million fees that normally these projects would cost. So we had like projects in there which were for academy school networks, for the Bill Gates Foundation, for like social enterprise, etc. And then at some point 2.5 years ago, so I was leading that Bain Cares, it was called, on the side of the normal work. And at some point we were thinking, okay, what are the other topics where this kind of skills could make a real difference? And that was the moment. So I grew up in Belgium, and my father is Iraqi, so that was like Iraq had gone to hell because of this kind of stuff. Then it was happening in Brussels too. In the meantime, it has happened in London too. So we were just thinking, okay, what can we do on that? And then the response was really incredible. Like we reached out to some people at Facebook, they immediately wanted to get in touch, YouTube, schools, etc. So there's just so much passion around using skills and volunteering time to make a difference on this topic that it's then grown to really much bigger dimensions than we ever hoped. But very happy to talk to any of you offline also if you want more details. So now it's time to start doing. 2 exercises we'll do, and maybe then the third if we have enough time. Somehow the slide is hidden. So the first exercise, actually you don't even need a slide. The first exercise is basically we've got now a model that works when an attack happens, right? When an attack happens and the attention goes up, we found a model where we can react quickly and change the narrative post that attack. If an attack happens, let's hope it won't, we will again do that. But what we are more and more thinking about is how can we also change the narrative at moments when no attack happens, so that this becomes more of the mainstream thought, more of the mainstream media reports, etc. One of the things we've thought about is how can we use existing events to jump on and use the noise around these events to create more of a narrative. So for example, the Trump visit. Trump is coming in a couple of weeks to London. Is there something we can do to use the noise created around that visit, which is going to be huge, right? It's going to be all over the newspapers, everywhere, etc., to bring a positive message out during that visit, or to bring specific messages of unity, love, etc. out while Trump is in London. So the first exercise, and we'll split the group in smaller groups. The first exercise is going to be thinking about, imagine you now had a group of 5 or 10 volunteers. You have a month to plan something nice for the Trump visit. What would you do? How would you try to get into the press? Think about all these things like the simplicity, the emotional aspect, the speed, the influencers, etc. Where would you go? What would you do? What kind of event would you set up? Would you do something small with like 4 people trying to get it that way, grassroots into the press? Would you go to the march, which is probably going to be organized anyway by lots of organizations, unions, parties, etc. Probably 100,000 people or so will go and protest anyway. How would you try to get your message out at that event is the first exercise. The second exercise is then going to be, again, we've got that model that works now rapid response-wise, but ideally we would also move that model more and more to online rapid response. Because you've seen how online there's been these echo chambers of hatred that have been created, right? Where the voices of hate online are so strong, whether that's on Brexit, on immigration, on women's rights, like with the Me Too movement. Against the Me Too movement, there was such a strong push from hate, etc. too. Then all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, women are benefiting from it, whatever. Like the voices of like hatred are very strong against all these topics. So one of the second exercise is going to be, imagine that you wanted to go against these messages of hate online. What would you do with a group of 5 to 10 volunteers for 1 month? For example, one option would be to say, actually, we will concentrate on the website of The Sun or the Daily Mail. Their comment section is filled with hate normally and like racism, etc. For 1 month with our group of 5, we will just go and answer all these messages with positive messages and put the key facts in, put the key messages in there, put a link towards videos that show the opposite, etc. I think a couple of you mentioned bringing the facts. Like, how would you bring the facts to those people that are ingrained in a mindset of hatred, division, etc. So those two exercises, let's do like 15 minutes on each. Let's start first with the Trump one. We'll split the group in two, so maybe if the first 3 hosts could all come and set up a circle here, and then the other people set up a circle here. Do some thinking, do some talking. We'll give each of you also a flip chart, and then at the end, actually I think there's too many people. Let's do 3 hosts. Do 2 hosts, 2 hosts, 2 hosts. Otherwise you won't have no chance to talk. So the first 2 hosts, then those 2 hosts, and those 2 hosts. And so at the end, please, each of you will have to present to the other groups. And so try to come up with a good plan of what you would do. You have to split in 3, so each will do one. Then, and